Hello viewers, today we are going to demonstrate the construction of 4:1 channel multiplexer and 1:4 channel demultiplexer using basic digital gates. In case of multiplexer, we can select any one out of 4 channels by using two selector inputs. When the two selector inputs are at logic low state, then input 1 will be selected and output will only change if we change the logic state of this input. Now similarly, when the selectors are in logic low, logic high states respectively, then the input 2 will be the selected one. In case of logic high, logic low state of selector inputs, the input 3 will be selected. Finally, when both the selectors are in logic high state, input 4 will be the selected one. In case of demultiplexer, similarly the input data will be transmitted to output 1 when both the selectors are at logic low state. It will be transmitted to output 2 in case of logic high, logic low combination, to output 3 in case of logic low, logic high combination, and output 4 when both the selectors are at logic high state. Let's now move to the experimental part. Today we are going to perform the experiment with the help of a trainer kit, as we can see in our screen. Now let's see how many inbuilt sections are there in this kit. The first section in the top left corner is data selector input section. In this section there are two inputs, logic high and logic low. For multiplexing, we shall use this data selector input section. The next section is digital data input section, which is placed just below the data selector input section. In this section, there are 4 digital data inputs, namely D0, D1, D2 and D3. These data inputs are used as logic input for both the multiplexer and demultiplexer section. The section in the right side of the kit is digital logic output section. There are LED indicators in this section, using which we can check the logic low and logic high state of the digital logic signal. Just below the demultiplexer section, there is another data selector input section. We shall use this data selector input section for demultiplexing. Let's come to the multiplexer section. In this section, we can select 1 out of 4 data input with the help of 2 selector inputs and connect it with the output. In this way, it acts as a 4:1 channel multiplexer. Now, let's move on to the demultiplexer section. In contrast with multiplexer section, here we can connect the data input with any one out of 4 data outputs. Hence, it acts as a 1:4 channel demultiplexer. Here we are going to check the functionality of inbuilt section of this trainer kit. First, let's check 4 data inputs, that is D0, D1, D2 and D3 of the data input section. To do this, we shall connect the logic high terminal, that is red terminal of data input section, to output indicators by patch cords. Now we shall connect the logic high, that is red terminals of data input section, to the output indicators using patch cords. At first we shall connect D0, then D1, then D2 and lastly the D3 input. Now turn on the kit. We are observing here that the LED in the output section are glowing. After that, we shall connect the logic low, that is black terminal of the data input section, to the output LED indicators. First we connect D0, then D1, then D2 and D3. Here we are observing that the LED in the output section are not glowing. Similarly, we shall check the data selector inputs. We shall connect the logic high terminals, that is the red terminals of both data selector input section to the output LED indicators by patch cord. Here we are connecting the data selector input of multiplexer section to the output section. And now we are connecting the data selector input of demultiplexer section to the output section. Let's switch on the trainer kit. Here we are observing that all the output LED indicators are glowing. Let's connect the logic low, that is the black connector of the two data selector input to the digital logic output section via patch cord. Here we are observing that the LEDs are not glowing. Hence, we can conclude that both the data selector input section is working as expected. Till now, we have ensured that all the input and outputs of the kit are working properly. Hence, let's start the experiment. Here, we shall connect the two selector inputs of multiplexer section to the logic low, that is black terminal of the data selector input using patch cords. Now, we shall connect 4 data input of multiplexer section to the logic high, that is red terminal of the data input section. First we connect the D0 input, then D1, now we connect D2, and finally we are connecting the D3 input. Connecting the output of multiplexer section to the output indicators. Let's switch on the trainer kit. Here we are observing that connected LED of LED indicator section is glowing. Hence, output of multiplexer section is in its high logic state. Now, connect the D0 terminal of digital data input section to logic low, that is black terminals. First we connect the D0 input. We can observe that the LED indicator connected to output of multiplexer section is not glowing. So, multiplexer output is at its low state. Hence, we can conclude that when both the selector inputs are at their low state, then D0 input will be selected. In this situation, the output of multiplexer section will not depend on other logic inputs. To understand this in better way, we shall keep the D0 data input in its logic high state. As a result, output of multiplexer will also be at its logic high state. In this situation, we shall observe that if we change the logic state of any data input other than D0, then the state of multiplexer output will not change. Hence, we can definitely say that if the two data selector inputs remain in logic low state, then D0 input will be selected and will be connected to output. In the same way, when the data selector inputs are in logic high, logic low state, D1 data input will be selected. In case of logic low, logic high state, D2 data input, and for logic high case, D3 data input will be selected 1. We shall now first consider the logic high, logic low condition. In this case, D1 data input will be selected. Here, the logic state of multiplexer output will not change by changing logic state of data inputs other than D1. Now, we shall consider the combination of logic low and logic high state of data selector inputs. Here, D2 data input will be selected and connected to output. If we change the logic state of data inputs, we can observe that logic state of multiplexer output will only change if we change the logic state of D2 data input. The output will not change if we change the logic state of other data inputs. Let's now consider the logic high combination of data selector inputs. D3 data input is now the selected input. We shall now change the logic state of data inputs D0, D1, D2 and D3 one by one, and we can observe that the logic state of multiplexer output is only changing when we change the logic state of D3 data input. Let's check the functionality of demultiplexer section. First, we shall connect the data input to logic high input of the data input section by patch cord. Then connect the selector input to logic low terminals. And connect the 4 outputs of Demultiplexer section to digital output indicators using patch cords. Switch on the trainer kit. We can observe that output LED indicator is glowing. That is, output is at its logic high state. Now, if we change the data input to logic low state, then the LED indicator connected to output gets off. So, we can say that if both the selector inputs are at logic low state, then the first output will be selected. Similarly, if the data selector inputs are in logic high, logic low state, then the second output. If it is in logic low, logic high state, then the third output. And when they are in logic high state, then the fourth output will be selected. Hence, it is acting as a 1:4 channel demultiplexer. The complete operation manual of this video is attached in the description box. If you really like this video, then please hit the like button, subscribe our channel for more videos like this and press the bell icon to get notification first. Feel free to visit our website www.kalpanascientific.com at your convenience for any product related information. Thanks for bearing with us. Let's meet in upcoming video of this tutorial series. Till then, bye bye.